Unlocking the front door, I fumbled with the key, unable to keep my hand steady. As I half walked, half fell through the door, Mum flew at me. "I thought ye were dead." Mum's Scots accent always came out more forcefully when she was emotional. Evidently torn between wanting to beat me senseless and hug me, she came up short when she reached me. She hadn't slept. She looked terrible, her usually neatly tied back long ginger hair in a mess, her clothing worn for days judging by the wrinkles and stains. I glanced over at Dad. He was in no better shape, exhausted and tired, looking older than his 50 years. Enormous bags hung beneath his bright blue eyes, his face bearing several days of stubble under unbrushed dark hair. His skin was grey and ashen. Clearly they had been worried sick about me. Looking closely at my father, I assumed this is what I would look like in 30 years. Hadn't they left the house at all? Guilt consumed me for even contemplating accepting. How could I even consider leaving them? Had I been swept up in the testing, the magnitude of the issue? My responsibility was here, with my family. Mum had obviously intended to berate me, but stopped, her mouth slightly open. She shoved me toward the leather couches where Dad was sitting, too exhausted to get up and greet me. I sat on the couch Merlin scratched up as a kitten, hiding behind them and then pouncing out at us as we walked past, scratching up the arms in the process. Mum always said that she would replace these couches when she no longer had pets, only that never happened. I may well be sitting on this couch for the last time. I sat and stared dazedly at the photos on the walls that captured our family's history, really looked at them in a way I hadn't in years. The staggered display of matching frames, Mum and Dad's ancient wedding photo with awful hair and dated clothing, several of Sorka and me as kids, staged school photos, some with front teeth, some without, all in appalling school uniforms. One primary school picture had red tops and green shorts, which made Sorka with her red hair look very much like a Christmas tree. Just add tinsel. Photos of sporting triumphs, holidays, graduations. The worst was a hideous, posed studio photo of us all, me aged 5 and Sorka at 8, that I had always hated and could have sworn Mum kept it on display to torture me in front of my friends. Mum and Dad seated on old-style dining chairs, Sorka standing next to Dad and me next to Mum to split up our colouring, posed and awkward with fake smiles. Now those awful photos with my dark hair and a pudding bowl haircut and wearing what Mum liked to call nice clothes may be the only things left of me. Suddenly, the matching shirts she had forced us to wear and had terrible itchy tags didn't seem so awful. Funny how your perspective changes when something catastrophic happens. I didn't know where to start, so I just sat there. I could see they were bursting to ask questions, but instead they waited. They knew me well enough to know that I needed time. I started tentatively explaining where I had been, the testing process, why it was necessary, the pandemic. Then the words flowed in a torrent I was unable to stop. The pressure, my fears. Why me? Why was I chosen? What if I wasn't suitable? Failed? How would I be part of a community where there was no escape if I offended someone? How could I? The steam ran out of me as quickly as it had started, and I slumped in the chair, running out of words mid-sentence. Mum glanced briefly at Dad, looked back at me and said, "Eat, then sleep." I looked up at her, dazed and confused. The watch on my wrist that had been returned as I had lined up for the bus showed it was barely midday. "Eat," she repeated firmly, "then sleep. You can't make an important decision on an empty stomach. It isn't like your study is the most critical thing in the world anymore, now is it?"